Midnight Moon. Written by Suzana Thompson. Narrated by Sarah Sampino. Chapter 2. Damien didn't come back to school until the week following Blair's funeral. It was closed casket because she had been extensively mauled by some kind of animal. Damien said it was a wolf, a big wolf. It bit him in the shoulder and then went after Blair. He tried to save her, but it was relentless in its vicious attack. It happened right in front of her yard when he took her home after the party around 3 a.m. Corey's Halloween party traditionally didn't start until 11 at night, so that all the guests would be gathered together to welcome in the midnight hour. I'd been to some of his previous parties, which were more about creepy fun than drinking and partying. My costume would have been perfect attire for this year's event, even though it wasn't actually Halloween. But I hadn't been in the mood to laugh about spooky thrills. Corey would have insisted on having a seance when he saw how I was dressed, since we always ended up messing around with the Ouija board. The predictions usually became quite dirty as hormonal teenagers slid the planchette toward the letters with wicked glee. Blair's screams at that late hour roused her parents from their sleep, and their next-door neighbor also hurried outside to investigate. The neighbor confirmed seeing what he thought was a large dog running into the Hadleys' backyard. His wife was too focused on Blair to have noticed anything else. She was already dead from her injuries at this point, and her poor mother had to be given a sedative after seeing the condition of her daughter's body. The police were baffled by the gruesome attack. A wolf sighting was practically unheard of in Ohio, especially in a populated area. Wolves tended to shy away from humans, so they were leaning more toward the theory that it was a vicious dog. People were afraid in the days following the brutal killing, but there were no more attacks. So many people attended the funeral that I didn't get more than a brief look at Damien. I noticed right away that there was something wrong with him once he returned to school. I mean, something more than being the witness to his girlfriend's violent death. His formerly indifferent gaze was now a feral stare. As I observed him, I saw that even his walk had changed. His confident stride had been replaced by an unhurried, languid grace. The people around him expressed their sympathy for his loss, and he accepted their condolences with automatic, simple responses. I heard a few girls comment that he was too upset to talk about it, but his demeanor seemed unnatural to me. He confirmed this assessment when he approached me in the hallway, as I was taking a restroom break during my second class of the day. I opened my mouth to tell him I was sorry about Blair, but the words froze in my throat as he moved closer to me and inhaled. "I knew that was you," he breathed, still invading my personal space. I stepped back with wary unease. "I'm sorry about Blair," I mumbled awkwardly. "You want me," he stated, in a suddenly rougher voice that made my pulse jump. My instinct was urging me to run, but I couldn't escape the snare of his intense green eyes. "What?" I asked in a weak, shaky voice. He stepped too close to me again. "I can smell your arousal." I backed away cautiously and remembered that we were at school. The drone of a teacher's voice from an open classroom down the hall gave me the courage to confront Damien about his inappropriate behavior. "What's wrong with you? Your girlfriend just died."
"Yes,"
he agreed.
"You said she would."
"I was just making that up," I quickly explained. "It wasn't real."
"Her death seemed pretty real to me,"
he remarked, while his eyes remained focused on me more intently than I had ever dreamed during my innocent infatuation with him in freshman year. "That was a terrible coincidence," I insisted, worried that he might tell people about my strange behavior the night Blair was killed.
"It doesn't matter now,"
he said.
"We need to be alone, where no one will bother us. Let's go to my house."
I stared at him in shock, before getting angry at his insulting suggestion. "It's nice to know how much you loved your girlfriend," I noted in disgust.
"I didn't love Blair,"
he openly admitted.
I was only with her because she was a hot piece of ass.
I glared furiously at him for his insensitivity toward the dead. Thanks for telling me your dating criteria, but I'm not going anywhere with you.
You're not as hot as Blair was,
he informed me, adding insult to injury.
But I want you more than I ever wanted her.
Thanks, I said sarcastically. You're lucky you're pretty, because you don't know shit about seducing girls.
I don't need to seduce you,
he declared.
You already want me.
I didn't bother denying his deluded claims. I'm surprised you didn't hit on me at the funeral then, since you're so sure I want you.
Your scent wasn't as strong at the funeral,
he replied in complete seriousness. I snorted at the absurdity of his response. A lot of girls in this school want you, so go sniff someone else.
But none of them smell like you,
he said. I couldn't take any more of this insane conversation. Excuse me, but I have to go pee. I remained aware of his presence behind me as I ran past him, and I had the crazy thought that he could pounce on me at any moment. My skin prickled in anticipation of feeling his hot breath on the back of my neck.